Now, the UK government has announced a relaxation of electric vehicle sales targets to help the car industry in the face of those trade tariffs from the US. Currently, at least 28% of cars sold by manufacturers in the UK must be electric vehicles. That will rise every year till 2030, when every petrol and diesel car sold will incur a fine. Well, amid mounting pressure from car makers, the government announced today fines would be reduced from $15 per car sold to $12,000. They've also created a carve-out for smallest car firms, with a number of luxury brands such as Aston Martin and Bentley being granted exemptions. Well, the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, has been speaking on a visit to Jaguar Land Rover, the plant there, after the firm announced last week they'd pause their imports into the US due to those new tariffs announced by the US president. There's no doubt the challenge, but this is a moment for cool heads. Nobody wins from a trade war. But it's also a moment for urgency, because we've got to rise together as a nation to the great challenge of our age. And it is the great challenge, which is to renew Britain. So we're secure in this era of global instability. And nobody is pretending that tariffs are good news. That better than anyone. 25% tariffs on automotive exports and 10% on other goods. That is a huge challenge for our future. And the global economic consequences could be profound. Well, let's speak live to Andy Palmer. He's the former CEO of Aston Martin and COO of Nissan. He oversaw the launch of the Nissan Leaf, the first mass-market, zero-emission vehicle, and he is now the chief executive of Palmer Energy Technology, a battery and energy storage company. Thank you so much for being here on the program. What do you make of the UK government's move here today on this? Well, it's good that the UK government has recognized that the auto industry is at a moment in time in a real trouble and needs help. So that's really good news. It's also good news that we understand that the industrial strategy is being pulled forward, and that would hopefully more institutionally bring the kind of support that the industry needs. The industry is at a big crossroad. There's an awful lot going on right now. Obviously, from the exiting from COVID, the cost of living crisis, the Ukraine war, the transition of technology from internal combustion engines to EVs, all of this going on. And then, of course, the tariff issue. And so, yes, the industry does need help, and the UK government has stepped in quickly to at least help in some way by relaxing the ZV mandate to make it a little easier to manage the transition. So I think you say a little easier because critics have already made the point that they don't think it goes far enough. Even when it comes to those fines, it's a small drop. And that potentially is the backdrop for all of those manufacturers. Could they have gone further? Are there enough incentives to make people want to switch in greater numbers? I think they went quite a long way. The recognitioners of self-charging hybrids, in my opinion, went too far. So you're always going to find people on one side or the other. The important point is that the UK leads in this new age of new energy. Vehicles B, they electric vehicles. B, they synthetic fuel. B, they hydrogen. It's really important that we step forward so that our industry can benefit from manufacturing in a market that is friendly to the technology. Ultimately, the car manufacturers will thank us for that, because they need markets that are on the front foot to help drive the technology through and basically survive, versus the Chinese, which are invested hugely in new energy vehicles. Quick final thought. Was it right to have exemptions for Aston Martin and Bentley? Yes, I think it was. These are unique brands. They're very low volume. They also need help in a changing environment. I think the key is that those boutique brands don't sit on their laurels. Now it's really important that they spend the time to introduce their version of new energy vehicles, be it electric or be it synthetic fuel. There we have to leave it. But thank you so much for taking time to speak to us, live here on ABC News. Now, let's head to Washington, because Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, will meet Donald Trump at the White House. A little later today, he'll be the first world leader to visit Washington. Since the U.S. president announced those sweeping global tariffs, Israel is facing a 17% levy on its goods entering the United States. It had tried and failed to avoid measures by preemptively dropping duties on American goods affected by them. The meeting between the two leaders is the first since President Trump unveiled those proposals for the US to actually take control and own the Gaza Strip? Well, let's talk on the program to our North America correspondent, Peter Bowes. Peter, I'll come to the tariffs in a moment, but I mentioned Gaza at the end of that introduction, because increasingly Benjamin Netanyahu, when he's asked about what is happening in Gaza, repeats what Donald Trump has said about clearing out Gaza and all the Palestinian.